The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Dubby's products are made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom-made by Dubby, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. Dubby's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. Dubby Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. It is the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a Wednesday morning. We got the Crooked Commish tuning in saying, top of the morning, Money Mike. Top of the morning to you, Crooked Commish. Hope that you are having yourself a great day. As I take a sip of my cup of joe. I'm trying to figure out, Crooked Commish, maybe you can help me out with this. As we are live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, various places that we are live at. Tommy, maybe you can help me out with this as well. It feels like this was, without a shadow of a doubt, the slowest day in sports that I can remember in quite some time. And I know, we can talk baseball. I can talk baseball all day, but I get zero response whenever I talk baseball. We can talk, number 90 through 87 in the top 100. Still trying to figure out how they're doing this. I thought it was a show. I didn't think it was just like, oh, we're going to release these people. I remember it being a show. I didn't think it was just going to be, let's release names. We can talk about Bradley Beal being bought out potentially by the Phoenix Suns and then being signed by the LA Clippers. Do we want to talk about Chet Holmgren agreeing to a rookie max extension, the inside the park home run that walked it off yesterday for the San Francisco Giants? It feels like this was, without a shadow of a doubt, the slowest GD day in sports. Ohtani taking someone deep, Mizorowski, but Mizorowski fans 12, like he gets 12 strikeouts after being driven deep by Shohei Ohtani. Slow day, guys. Slow effing day. So I'm going to leave it up to y'all. Commish, Tommy, what are we talking about today? I'll start it off with the top 100. On Monday, we learned that Zach Allen, that was leaked out, was number 90, the defensive end for the Denver Broncos. Feels okay. 8.5 sacks, 32 solo tackles, 1 pass defended, and was an all-pro on the second team. 89 was James Cook, the running back for the Buffalo Bills. 1,000 rushing yards, 1,009 rushing yards, 16 tutties, and was selected to the Pro Bowl. Not ranked at all last year. That's what I like about this part. I watched the first episode. Strilla, I watched the first episode. I'm probably going to continue watching a little bit later on today. It was fun. Like, I like the way they shot it. I like the way they did stuff. I also feel like you're a little biased because you are a fan of one of the quarterbacks that is being portrayed in there, like Jared Goff. Like, the whole story of Jared Goff, like taking the Rams to the Super Bowl and then being jettisoned out. Like, you kind of forget about all that. And like how that kind of impacted him, and how the GM and then the coaching staff kind of embraced him and rallied the whole team around him. Like, that was fun to watch. I liked that documentary. It inspired me on a couple of things that I'm doing because I'm shooting a documentary right now. So it inspired me on a couple of things that I'm going to be doing. But yeah, it was fun to watch. Kirk Cousins rehab coming back from the torn Achilles. Joe Burrow seemingly living a really charmed life. It was interesting to watch, following those 3 quarterbacks around. I'm trying to Rayworks Production saying, good morning. Sorry I am late. No need to apologize. Y'all show up whenever you show up. I just appreciate y'all showing up whenever you show up. We're trying to figure out what it is we're going to be talking about in the world of sports. Like, not a whole lot going on. Andrew Van Ginkel being number 88, a linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. 50 50 set, blah, 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 blah. Jesus Christ. I gotta like read. 50 solo tackles, 11 sacks, 11 and a half sacks, 6 passes defended, 1 fumble recovery, 2 interceptions, second team All-Pro, and was selected to his first Pro Bowl. Number 88 on the list. Quinnen Williams from the New York Jets, the defensive tackle. He was ranked number 50 last year, falls all the way down to number 87. 25 solo tackles, 6 sacks, selected to his 3rd Pro Bowl. I'm trying to figure out, because it seems to be super inconsistent. I know it's voted on, the top 100 is voted on by like the NFL players, but I'm trying to figure out what they're using to vote. Like what are the metrics for voting so far? Because it seems really weird that you got guys with like 11 sacks, 8.5 sacks, getting outvoted by a dude with 6 sacks. It's weird to me. Yeah, the Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh home run battle is getting good. It has been good. That's been fun. Like, if you haven't been paying attention to Major League Baseball, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, I get it. You probably don't like baseball. But Cal Raleigh is a catcher that has absolutely zero pressure on him at all. He's just a dude. Leading the MLB right now with 36 home runs, which is the most before an All-Star break in quite some time. And right behind him is Aaron Judge, who has 34 home runs. Both of them hit a home run last night. As our guy Ray from Rayworks Production says, they both hit a home run last night. Aaron Judge is eyeing the Triple Crown. He's leading in batting average with a 360 batting average, second in home runs, third in RBI with 75 RBI, just 2 behind Sayaza Suzuki, and 1 behind Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh's batting average not anywhere up there, but if Aaron Judge can pass him in the American League, he wins the batting crown. He wins the Triple Crown. Doesn't happen all that often. The last time it happened was Miguel Cabrera. I want to say 2017. And then before that, it was, all the way back to 1968, something like that. It's been fun, especially knowing that Aaron Judge is all of the Yankees offense right now. Just all of it. There's nothing for Aaron Judge or nothing for the Yankees outside of Aaron Judge. Absolutely nothing. It really makes you think, even though the Yankees are a solid team, they're now, 3 back of the Blue Jays? They might be 2 back. I got to check the standings. Let's go to the standings real quick. They had lost 6 in a row. Yeah, they're still 3.5 behind the Blue Jays. They had lost 6 in a row, won 1 game against the Blue Jays. Or no, they got swept by the Blue Jays, won a game this weekend. I'm trying to remember it was the Mets. Won one of the games against the Mets. And then just continued to not be great. And the thing is, they only have 1 more win than Tampa Bay and 2 more wins than Boston. The Yankees were running away with this division. They had quite a lead in their division. And now it just seems like it's all disappeared and dissipated. And Toronto's good. I was hoping that Toronto would be bad enough that they would wind up trading Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to the Yankees. Now they're good. They're going to be buyers. Bellinger is on a 14 or 15 game hitting streak. Bellinger is great. He had a catch the other day and a double play that was just absolutely amazing. Ray Works hitting it on the head. The Yankees always do this at the All-Star break. Yeah, it's what they do. I'm not stressed about it. It just they limp into the All-Star break. They'll start right around the All-Star break. They'll be pretty mediocre again. And then come August, September, they're going to once again start dominating. That's what the Yankees do. That's kind of their MO, so to speak. It's what the Yankees do. I'm trying to get the lighting correct in here. I feel like I'm super bright right now. I'm trying this webcam. I'm trying to condense some of my stuff here, but I feel like I'm going to have to go to my normal camera that I always have. That way I can darken it, lighten it whenever I need to do it. Trying to make life easier on myself so that the show on Saturdays can be better. But nonetheless, we'll make it work. All the inner workings that nobody here cares about. And yeah, that play was amazing. Bellinger just catching the ball centimeters before it hits the ground, comes up throwing a rocket to first base. Absolutely amazing. I have a Canon Rebel, T6 that I've been using. This is just a regular webcam because of what I was trying to do was in order to use it, I got to have a converter. I have the converter plugged into my computer. I have 2 converters. I wanted to use 2 cameras whenever we do Fire and Ice, but I didn't want to keep unplugging and plugging things in because it always feels like you're going to create more issues that way. But it feels like I'm going to have to just buy another one of those, Aja converter boxes, which I really don't want to do. But going to have to do it eventually. Maybe not now, but eventually. That's getting into all the weeds of the stuff that happens here, the background stuff. So I was using this webcam, and the webcam was doing pretty good for the last couple of days, but I just feel like maybe it's the hat. Yeah, and that's what I have. That's what those Aja boxes are. They convert from HDMI to USB. I always look for, well, it wasn't the hat. I was thinking maybe it was the hat trying to darken the camera, but it wasn't the hat. So I have those converter boxes for it. I know you can't just go from USB to HDMI or HDMI to USB, or at least I haven't been able to have any success. If you know of a cable or something like that that I can use, that would be awesome. I see that my dude Shane Wolf tuned in over on Instagram along with Della Turf and the Builder MC. Shane Wolf is a really good dude. You've seen some of the pictures that I've put up in the past before supporting the sarcoma run that we're going to have. I know that's going to be later on in the month of July, so I can't wait to go out there to Album Park and support that sarcoma 5K. I'll have more information on that as we get closer to the date. Hopefully, y'all can go out there and support a great cause. Locally sourced EP joined in right now as well over on Instagram. All over the place. All over the place is where we do. Is how we like it. That's how we like it, all over the place. In the American League Central, it is a one-team race here. The Detroit Tigers, 59 wins on the season, running away with the division, a 14-game lead over the Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins. 15 and a half games over the Cleveland Guardians, which were at one point the second place team, and Cleveland lost, 10 in a row? 11 in a row, it might be, that Cleveland lost. They're just now out of it. They're going to be sellers, more than likely going to be getting rid of their closer, Emmanuel Clase. I see our guy Football Talk with Bo is on right now as well. You can check him out coast to coast every weekday at noon. Doing some amazing stuff with the WNBA team up in Seattle as well. Bo doing some great stuff. Give me the list, Bo, of all the shows that you've got going on. In the American League West, the Houston Astros with a 6.5 game lead over Bo's Seattle Mariners. Cal Raleigh kind of cooling down a little bit. At least I hope he cools down a little bit, because I want Aaron Judge to do the Triple Crown. I need Aaron Judge to get that Triple Crown in the American League. The Texas Rangers 10 games behind the Houston Astros, so it's still a little fun. I think if you're 10 games out right now, that's kind of the benchmark to be a seller. So we'll see what the Texas Rangers do going forward. Are they going to look forward to next year, or are they going to try and come back in the second half of the season? We're already past the halfway point. In the National League East, you have the New York Mets, 53 and 39 on the season, tied with the Philadelphia Phillies. This is going to be a fun division. The Miami Marlins and their what was it, 10-game road winning streak that they had. I believe they won 9 in a row. Now they're the second place team here because the Mets and the Phillies are tied at first. Now they're the second place team. The Miami Marlins, man, I don't think they're going to be good enough to make the playoffs, but it would be cool. Just that story of the Miami Marlins being that bad at the beginning of the season, making it to the playoffs right now. They're 42 and 48 on the season and 10 games back. They've got a shot. Once again, we're going to see, are they going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? What are they going to do? We shall figure that out. The Atlanta Braves, 13 games back. The Washington Nationals, 15 and a half games back. The Chicago Cubs right now with a 2.5 game lead over the Milwaukee Brewers in the NL Central. The Cubbies are 54 and 37. The Brewers are 52 and 40. Then you got the Cardinals that are 5.5 games back. The Reds, 8.5 games back. The Cards, 49 and 43 on the season. The Reds, 46 and 46, perfect at 500. And then, of course, the Pittsburgh Pirates, we don't even talk about them. The LA Dodgers with a 5-game lead over the San Francisco Giants. The Giants getting themselves that big walk-off win, an inside-the-park walk-off home run yesterday. Ray asking us, what do we think about Oral Hershiser said when the Astros killing the Dodgers? You got to give me a little more context on that. Saying, quote, I don't want to open up an old wound, but in some ways they're swinging at those breaking balls like they know what's coming. I mean, it was it was proven, right? Like there was some sort of cheating going on with the Houston Astros. Like that was something that everyone kind of knew was going down. They weren't the only team. I want to say the Red Sox and the Yankees were implicated in trying to find a way of stealing signs and doing all that. But Major League Baseball proved that they don't care, right? Like whenever they go after the the Houston Astros and they do nothing, absolutely nothing. That is something that we are going to do a little bit later on, Tommy. I just want to get closer to the season. We're in that little in between time. I always do power rankings like the month leading up before, and I'll go over like all the different positions and stuff like that as well. So in August, we got what 3 weeks before we get to the power rankings. I'll come up with some more NFL stories and stuff like that we can talk about. I got to be better prepared for the show. I've been taking a new medication. It's so hard for me to get up in the mornings now. So we'll see how that impacts some of the stuff. Maybe I stop taking it. Not going to stop taking it. But yeah. Going back to the Houston Astros, like we all kind of knew that was something that was going on with the Houston Astros. Major League Baseball proved they don't care whenever they came up with, oh, tell us what was going on, that you were banging on trash can lids and doing all this, and we'll have no punishments for you. Just come clean. Tell us that you were doing it. There's your incentive for the guys to be like, yeah, we cheated, so what? Now you can get off our back. Shout out to my guy, Kevin Sessions, who I see is tuned in over on Facebook right now. Shout out. Hope that you are doing well, my friend. Watching on the Tipping Point, or maybe it's a Tipton broadcasting page. I always got to figure out what we're doing over there. I know it was shared by Fire and Ice. But Major League Baseball proved they didn't care that the Astros were cheating. And do you even call it cheating whenever you got multiple teams that are doing it? Like everyone's always trying to steal signs. You always try to find out if the pitcher is tipping their pitches by the way they're gripping the ball, the way they're doing certain stuff. Whenever they've got the glove up, is the glove out a little bit for what they're doing? Are they doing this and that? Like there's always that level of cheating, quote unquote, in Major League Baseball, in any form of baseball. The Astros and Major League Baseball just didn't care, right? Like sure, it may have impacted the World Series. It impacts who their champion is. But whenever Major League Baseball says, come clean, we won't even punish you, they punish the general manager and the manager. They don't punish the players. Then there's nothing really that is going to stop teams from doing it. Oral Hershiser can be like, yeah, they knew it was coming because they knew what was coming. They obviously knew what was coming. It sucks, but you're not going to go back and change history. You're not going to be like, oh, the Dodgers could have won that World Series. So could have the Yankees, but they didn't. The winner of that World Series was the Houston Astros. And Houston, congrats, you won your World Series. You had a little dynasty there for a little while, but it's going to be tainted. Ray going on to say teams are always looking to get an edge, but the Astros took it to the next level during that championship run. And they didn't get punished at all, right? Like that's kind of what I'm saying is like, yeah, teams are always doing it. The Astros, they did it better than everyone else, and they got rewarded with a championship. Unless Major League Baseball is going to go through and actually have a real punishment for them, which now is too late to really even think of doing, then they're not going to, like, I get why Oral would do it. You got to come up with something, especially this time of year, to try to talk about, to try to make those news cycles, to try to do stuff like that. I 100% understand what Oral Hershiser's doing there, but it just doesn't feel like it should be a subject that's spoken about anymore. We're talking about what, the 2019, 2018, maybe the 2017 World Championship? When was that? The 2017 World Series. So we're 8 years removed from it. I remember it being a story in like 2020 because I think it was something we were talking about on the show at that time. But it was 8 years ago. The Dodgers have won a championship since then. They've outspent every team in Major League Baseball since then. No one's going to feel bad for the Dodgers anymore. No one's going to be like, oh, those poor Dodgers. They never had a chance to win again. They spent $1 billion in free agency, and they never had a chance to win again. They dominated the World Series last year. Absolutely dominated the World Series last year. Which hurts me to say as a Yankees fan that they dominated the World Series. But we're talking about that happened 8 years ago. It's not like it ruined the Dodgers and their chances of ever winning a championship ever again. If anything, it proves that they can win. They were able to overcome all the adversity bestowed upon them by the Houston Astros, that cheating-ass team, the Houston Astros. What were your thoughts on it, Ray? I want to know what your thoughts were on the Houston Astros. I feel like I can tell where your thoughts are going just based off of some of the comments here. I get it. Like, it sucks. They have a tainted championship. 100% they have a tainted championship. But so do a lot of teams. You could even say the Dodgers championship last year. He says, bro, I'm a Yankees fan, so yeah. No, I get it. I'm a Yankees fan too. I get it. Like, in the ALCS. And I know you can say, oh, you had to know the slider was coming. Like, there had to be something with the slider off of Aroldis Chapman. You got to remember, Chapman's a two-pitch pitcher, right? A fastball and a slider. That's all Chapman ever had. So you're a 50-50 guess. Whenever you got a 50-50 guess, it makes it a lot easier. Which is what should put Mariano Rivera's career in real perspective. The dude had a pitch, one pitch. He was a one-pitch pitcher with that cutter. That cutter that he had. You can't even call it a little cutter. It was an awesome cutter. That cutter that he had. You knew it was coming. You couldn't hit it. Aroldis Chapman, his fastball wasn't what it used to be, at least not at that point in time. Crazy how it got faster whenever he went to Pittsburgh. And his slider didn't have as much break. You guess on the slider, Altuve pimps that thing out. There's all the talk about why didn't he let his jersey get ripped up? He said he was covering a bad tattoo. He was doing all that thing. Of course he knew a fastball was coming. That's what Aroldis Chapman does. He throws fastball or slider. Like that. That's all it was. That's all it was. Chapman was going to try to take him out on his best pitch. You throw fastball or slider, you pimp that thing out. That's all Chapman had was two pitches. Like I want to buy into the conspiracy theory. I really do. I really want to be there with you. But he's a two-pitch guy. Whenever you're a one-trick pony, so to speak, people know what they're doing. People know what's going to happen to them. Just like you should know that you're going to get just the tip right now.
I just want to put the tip in.
It's time for
Just a Tip.
That would make me uncomfortable.
Promise that it ain't too much, but just enough. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
It's time for Just the Tip.
Just the Tip is brought to you by our friends over at www.myhappynuts.com. Yes, it's a real product. Take care of yourselves, guys, from your grooming. You need to be taken care of. From your pits to your tip, you are covered. With www.myhappynuts.com, they have the whole body deodorant. Smells absolutely amazing and clean, not overpowering, not one of those weird scents. It's just a clean scent to it. It's hot outside. You got all the chafe happening, especially if you're going to the pool and you're wearing your swimming trunks. Get the anti-chafe stick. Make sure you're not chafing. Get the comfort cream so you ain't got to do the stanky leg, as Tommy likes to call it. Make sure you're taking care of yourself all over from head to toe, from your pits to your tip, with www.myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout and save on all of your male grooming needs. Ray going on to say, sucks. I think Altuve is a great player, but as you said, that Astros team is tainted. Oh, 100%. 100%. And like I said, you can even talk about some of those Yankees teams being tainted, right? Like if you got roid users on there, if you got some of this stuff, like a lot of people don't realize this. Chuck Knobloch was implicated in the Mitchell report, talking about players that were using steroids. Crazy how that's a list that comes out, but some other lists don't come out. Another topic for another day. All I'm saying is imagine someone else had done that, how crazy another side of the aisle would be. But nonetheless, Chuck Knobloch implicated on that. Like, there's a lot of guys, and this is why I always had an issue with like the steroid guys being left out, right? Is you never had Barry Bonds fail a drug test. You never had any issues with Roger Clemens, right? Like anything like that. There was no drug test that was thought of. And if you're going to allow a guy who was also on the Mitchell report in David Ortiz into the Baseball Hall of Fame, then you have to allow guys like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens into the Hall of Fame. They never failed a drug test. Mark McGwire came out and said, yeah, I did it. I'm sorry, I did it. I don't like this grandstanding that Major League Baseball does. And I've been on record talking about this for a bunch of times, right? Because people knew. If you were in the locker room as a reporter at that time, you knew what was going on. Major League Baseball at the highest level knew what was going on, and they needed those home runs. They needed that home run chase with Sammy Sosa, Ken Griffey Jr., and Mark McGwire. Yes. Ken Griffey Jr. was a part of that for a long time. He was in that home run chase. Just didn't get up to 60 like the other guys did. Tommy Kanata saying, hey, whoa, leave Big Papi out of this, LOL. But it's the truth. Like if David Ortiz can make it to the Hall of Fame and he's implicated on that list, never failed a drug test, right? Like, you want to keep A-Rod out? I don't believe in it, but I can understand it, right? You want to keep Robinson Cano out? I don't believe in it, but I understand it. You're holding on to evidence, actual evidence. When it comes to Barry Bonds, you can sit there and have all of your ideas, all of your thoughts, everything that you want to think about. Okay, look how his body changed. Take the roids out of Barry Bonds before, 2001. He's still the only player in baseball history with 500 home runs and 500 stolen bases. Barry Bonds should be a Hall of Famer. Roger Clemens should be a Hall of Famer. Hell, Pete Rose should be a Hall of Famer. So should Shoeless Joe Jackson, especially now if you allow legalized gambling in sports. And if you go back and you check the 1919 White Sox stuff, you'll see Shoeless Joe Jackson had a really good World Series. So, but nonetheless, going to step away from that. I remember writing an article about that. I got some praise from a writer who I really love named Woody Page. He found that blog that I had did on MSN back in 2007. I was like, this is actually really good. This is actually a really good writing. Inspired me. As I told a lot of people before I became a radio personality. I wanted to be a writer for the newspaper. And I wrote about that. Shoeless Joe Jackson should have been allowed in the Hall of Fame because statistically you can tell he wasn't trying to throw the 1919 World Series. He was doing really well. But if you're going to allow legalized gambling, you're going to take Pete Rose off the banned list after he passes away, then he might as well be added into the Hall of Fame. I get that a lot of players out there, a lot of old heads out there are going to be like, no, we can't have that. You cannot tell the story of baseball, which is what the Hall of Fame is. You cannot tell the story of baseball without those names. You simply can't. You can't talk about how great the home run chase was and keep Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire out of it. Whenever you knew what was going on, you needed those home runs in 1998 to save baseball from the strike that had happened where you didn't have a World Series in 1994 because you decided you were going to go on strike. They needed something to save baseball. Roids came in and saved baseball. And now because you did roids, and we know you were doing roids, now we're going to keep you out because you were a bad guy. You didn't talk to us nicely because we're baseball writers. Get the hell over yourself. For one, like you're a writer. Get the hell over yourself. I'm going to start writing about it. I'm going to apply for the Baseball Writers of America. I want to see if I can get myself a Hall of Fame vote now. I've given myself something that I want to talk about. I'm going to start covering the Chihuahuas a whole bunch more. I used to do it for a publication called 27 Ounce a couple of years back when I first started doing this stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is just create like a Chihuahuas page, go start building my website back up, create a Chihuahuas page, and just talk nothing but the Chihuahuas. And occasional Major League Baseball stuff. Whoa, I got heated there. Sorry, guys. Raywork Productions saying, agreed, I hate that they can pick and choose. If none of them can get in, then Big Papi shouldn't be in as well. Tommy Conanza saying, just stop testing for roids. It makes the game more exciting. Let everyone get juiced up. We'll see more home runs. I am with you on that. I have been on record. I remember having an argument with my boss at iHeart, Walter Alvarez, great dude. I remember having an argument with him because I was like, I want roids in sports. I want the best athlete science can give me. Let's make it happen. Athlete. I want the best athlete that science can give me. Let's just stop testing for, like, if everyone's doing it, cool. As a matter of fact, instead of testing for roids should be mandatory. They don't care, right? Like they start winning records and World Series and stuff like that. The athletes aren't going to care. Barry Bonds seems perfectly fine. And hell, you hear the stories about Barry Bonds, and it seems like everyone loves him. All the baseball players love him. It's the old head writers that hate Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds saw Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa getting loved because of the roids, and he was like, I'm as good as them without taking roids. Let me take some roids, allegedly, and look what I can do. And he obliterates home run records left and right. I think that's what we're going to start doing, Tommy. More roids in sports. The tipping point with Mike Tipton. We're putting that on the headstone of this show whenever it dies. More roids in sports. We want roids. We want roids. You're going to go to a baseball game and start chanting that. I can only imagine the people that tune into this show like for the first time and that's their introduction is me talking about I want more steroids in sports. That'll be a fun time. It really will be a fun time. USA. That's a subject that always gets me a little heated because I'm tired of hearing these baseball writers who knew, especially if it's those old head baseball writers, you knew. They'll be like, yeah, well, I was in the locker room and I saw someone using a needle and I saw some of the bottles for like the roids, but I didn't say anything because I didn't feel like it was my place. You're complicit. You're just as guilty. If you knew what was happening and you said nothing about it, you are just as guilty of doing it as the other players were. You allowed it to happen. You could have written an article and said, hey, this is what I saw. Maybe there's a problem in Major League Baseball. Just question mark. You could have kept the people anonymous. I thought I saw this. Maybe this should be tested for. Maybe they should be looking for this. Instead, you were like, man, home runs are awesome. I love seeing this. They're saving the sport. And you allowed it to happen. And you're going to keep the guys that you allowed to do it out of the Hall of Fame because you allowed them to keep doing it. And I'm using you as a pejorative here, but it's the truth. All these writers, because you'll hear it all the time, like they knew what was going on. GMs, general managers, people like that, they knew what was going on. There's a podcast out there. It's called Nothing Personal with David Sampson. David Sampson was the former president of the Miami Marlins. And he talks about how he knew which players were doing drugs, which players were gay, which players were whatever. They knew everything about these players. If you mean to tell me that the general managers and players and all the higher ups didn't know that Mark McGwire was taking roids, that Barry Bonds was allegedly, got to use that word, taking roids, that none of them knew, then they were willfully ignorant. And it's not their fault. It's not the players' fault. All of us fell in love with baseball at that time. Even if you weren't a huge baseball guy, you fell in love with the chase that Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and Ken Griffey Jr., we got to give him his love, were a part of in 1998. You fell in love with watching Barry Bonds just blast 73 home runs. Everybody fell in love with baseball again at that point in time. We love home runs. We love the long ball. We love watching pitchers throw 100 miles an hour. You let them do HGH so that way they can recover faster. You don't have to worry so much about all the Tommy John injuries. Look at how many Tommy John injuries we've had because now it's feast or famine. You either throw 100 miles an hour or you're not making it to the major leagues. Well, let their body recover by giving them a little bit of something. I was watching, Beastrilla mentioned it earlier, right? The quarterback show on Netflix. And Kirk Cousins having to go to Antigua to get stem cells, like a stem cell rejuvenating type of procedure done. Because you can harvest stem cells in the United States, you just can't use them. Whatever that means. Allow them to have those treatments. I'd rather, and this is where I'm going to sound like an apologist for Alex Rodriguez. I get it, dude. Alex Rodriguez was taking HGH to try to get back onto the field in 2013, 2015, whenever it was that he failed that drug test. He was trying to get back out onto the field. Because imagine the noise that surrounds you whenever you're Alex Rodriguez. You are a known people pleaser. That's why Alex Rodriguez never really does anything outside of what you think Alex Rodriguez should do. That's why I call him the people's champ all the time. Taking stuff to try to get back onto the field so that way you can earn your contract. You can do this. I'm with it. I'm all about the recovery stuff. Whenever you hear that Andy Pettitte was taking HGH so that way he can recover and not have to worry about his elbow hurting so much because he throws a lot of curveballs as an old man. Yeah, I'm with it. Any pitcher that wants to go out there and do it. Hell, if you would have told me Shohei Ohtani is injecting himself with whatever the hell he can get his hands on to get back and be able to be a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball, yeah, I'm with it. Do it. Get back out there on the field. Earn your contract. Don't be one of these dudes that's hurt all the time and getting absolutely doing nothing and getting paid your huge contract, go out there and try to be out on the field. I get it. They love the game that much. Inject whatever you want to into my body as long as it makes my body feel good. I am with it. I'm for it. But no, we have to keep the game prestigious and clean. The same game that we allow Hall of Famers in whenever there's segregation, but whatever. I'm not allowed to say that word anymore. I forgot. My bad. Look. I think that might have been the first time that Ray's got to hear that impersonation, or other people that are new to the show got to hear that impersonation. We got to come up. Tommy, I'm going to have to get with you. You're going to have to help me out. You guys are going to have to give me ideas. You're going to have to create like a segment of just talking in that voice. Talking about sports in that voice. All I'm trying to say is that there's certain words I'm not allowed to say anymore. Oh, not going down that rabbit hole. Somebody save me. Give me another topic. Give me something else. ESPN. Let me go over to ESPN. Where are you? Let's find some articles here that we can talk about before I go down the rabbit hole one more time, like I did on Monday. It's easier to go down the rabbit hole whenever there's nothing going on in the world of sports. Does anybody care about Wimbledon? I kind of don't. Although I will say Alcaraz doing what he's doing is pretty cool. Denver Nuggets superstar Nikola Jokic will not seek a contract extension this summer. He is delaying talks until next summer. Oh no. A league source confirmed to ESPN on Tuesday. Jokic has 3 years remaining on a 5-year, $276 million contract extension that he signed in the summer of 2022. The 3-time MVP has a player option in the final year of the deal worth $62.8 million. Still going to be less than the $80 million that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be making in his last year of his contract. $80 million a year. Jesus. Jokic is eligible to sign a 3-year, $200 million extension up until October 20th, according to ESPN's Bobby Marks. That's my guy. Got to get him on the show sometime. The first year of the extension would have replaced his player option. Oh, so I totally get it. Now, you take the player option and then you take the extension. You don't replace the player option. You're not going to remake that $62 million. Come on now. By waiting until the 2026 offseason to work an extension, the Nugget star is able to add a 4th year and an additional $77 million, according to Bobby Marks. Yeah. No, I agree with that logic 100%. You're not going to leave X amount of money on the table. Unless you're the Dallas Mavericks and you do it to Luka Doncic and you cost him, $140 million because you guys just want to be a bunch of jerks and call him fat. I hope that Luka comes back just like shredded on all the roids. Has like a 50-inch vertical all of a sudden. Like that's how I hope Luka comes back this year. Did you see the LeBron to Dallas articles? I don't want that fool with the Mavs. I have. I don't put a lot of stock in that. Like, I can't see. Could you imagine if Nico Harrison, and I'm not going to put it past him because we've already seen him do one of the dumbest trades in the history of the NBA. Ray Work saying, please take LeBron. Please take him. Could you imagine if Nico Harrison pulls off a trade mortgaging the future of the Dallas Mavericks? Who would you would have to trade Cooper Flagg and a bunch of other guys and like a bunch of draft picks to bring in LeBron James. I don't think it would be as much. I don't think that you would lose as much because he's 40 years old. He's going to be 41 during the middle of the season. So maybe you don't lose a lot, but it's still not going to be what gets you to a championship. If it was Gafford and Clay, no, I'm keeping Gafford and Clay. I like the role play. I've said this a bunch of times. I like what Dallas is building. Just like I used to like what Houston was building until they traded for Kevin Durant. Like, I feel like the Kevin Durant trade is going to stunt the growth of what was going on in Houston. I like this young San Antonio team. They're going to be good. I like this Houston Rockets team. They're going to be okay. I really like this Dallas Mavericks team whenever they get Kyrie Irving back. They have built a contender. And I don't think getting rid of Gafford and Clay for LeBron James would be what really makes them a better team. I don't see it that way. LeBron's 41. And I don't think any team. Is there a team? I was going to say maybe the Celtics, but I feel like if he goes to the Celtics, it doesn't help them out. Oklahoma City, like, they would have to trade young assets. Like, Oklahoma City and Indiana being in the NBA championship this year, being in the NBA finals, should have laid down the groundwork that you don't need multiple superstars, that you can have a superstar in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Halliburton, and then build a team full of great role players. And that's exactly what both those teams did. I feel like if you get rid of role players for a guy, just one singular dude, then you're really hurting your team. I'm bringing up the Kevin Durant trade just because I want to, again, show you how much the Phoenix Suns get out of this trade compared to the other teams that are involved. There's a 7-team trade that happened here. The Houston Rockets get Kevin Durant and Clint Capella. The New York Nets, or the Brooklyn Nets, who were involved, get a 2026 second-round pick, a 2030 second-round pick. The Warriors get Alex Tuhey, the 52nd overall pick, and Jamie Mashik, the 59th overall pick. The Hawks, where Clint Capella came from, get David Roddy, a 2031 second-round pick and cash. The Lakers get the number 36 overall pick in Adu Theorio and cash. The Timberwolves get Rocco Zaharski, the number 45th overall pick, a 2026 second-round pick, a 2032 second-round pick, and cash. And the Phoenix Suns get Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Kaman Maylock, who was the 10th overall pick, Rasheer Fleming, the number 31 overall pick, Kobe Brea, the number 41 overall pick, Daquan Plowden, a 2026 second-round pick, and a 2032 second-round pick. The Phoenix Suns got 6 players and 2 picks, 8 assets, for just getting rid of Kevin Durant. For just getting rid of Kevin Durant. That's a lot. Whenever you say and cash, so there's 2 ways that this can go. And I'm glad that you asked that question because it always makes me laugh. Anytime you hear and cash considerations in a trade, it happens a lot with Major League Baseball. It can be anywhere between the contract of a player, which it's not ever going to be the full amount of the contract, or as it was explained to me by a former president of baseball operations, something as simple as $1. So it can be anywhere from the entirety of the player's contract to simply $1. And it very rarely, 90% of the time, is more than $1. Maybe it's different in Major League Baseball, but that's how it's been in the NBA or in the NFL and in the Major League Baseball. Maybe basketball's a little different. But it has been in some of these trades, and you can go back and look at them because it's research that I did. Whenever I heard it, I said, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. As little as $1, because a lot of the cash consideration here is being just something that you can add. All it is like a tax write-off, right? AM radio stations lose money because it's a tax write-off for most conglomerate groups. Tommy Cananza saying, I agree. I don't care if LeBron was a free agent. I don't want that dude anywhere near my Mavs. I love seeing you say my Mavs again. I love seeing it. You're back. You're back into basketball, baby. D'Angelo Russell can step in until Kyrie gets back. And even whenever Kyrie gets back, I like D'Angelo Russell. I think D'Angelo Russell is better as a catch-and-shoot guard. So whenever Kyrie comes back, D'Angelo Russell's able to, like, he's great at creating for others. He's not great at creating for himself. Whenever you have a guy like Kyrie who can create for others and himself, and then you can have D'Angelo Russell as like a second scoring option, third, fourth, fifth scoring option, you're going to have a great team. It's going to be carried, obviously, by Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis at the beginning part of the season, but I really like what the Dallas Mavericks are building. I hate it as a Spurs fan. I don't think there's going to be a rivalry this year. I think it's going to be fun to watch this year. I think next year is going to be the rivalry, and I'll hate your team once again whenever it comes back to the 2027 season, 2026, 2027 season. But for 25-26, I'm just sitting back and having fun. Whatever the Spurs do is going to be fun for me. That's all. That is all I'm caring about. And if I'm a Phoenix Suns fan, I'm excited, right? Like we're talking about a team that got a lot of assets. I like Kaman Maylock. I mentioned this during the draft. I thought that was a huge pickup. No matter who was going to get him, that's a huge pickup. 7'2" defensive anchor. He doesn't have to carry the team. He gets to just be a guy roaming around doing his thing. The defense with Dylan Brooks now and Kaman Maylock is going to get so much better in Phoenix. Devin Booker gets to be your number one scoring option again. He gets to be the guy again. The Suns are more than likely going to buy out Bradley Beal. It's like Phoenix and Dallas. For me, the arrow's pointing up. We always talk about this on this show. Where is your arrow pointed at? Want to give a shout out to Rhythm and Roads Official who joined in on Instagram right now. I was lucky enough to do an interview with Joshua yesterday, talking a little bit about my story. Did a little bit of that with our guy Ray as well at Ray Works Productions. I can't wait on Thursday. On Thursday, that episode's coming out. So tomorrow I'm going to be sharing out the links, doing all that stuff. Support local here, especially locally sourced El Paso, especially all the different podcasts that we have, because even though it could be the same story, people tell the story differently, right? Tommy Cananza saying, Cooper Flagg pulled me back in, but it's still middle fingers to the air to Nico Harrison forever. Nico will never, ever outlive that. And Ray Works saying, just a tease, if you checked out some of my stories on Instagram, you will see what Ray and I were working on. All right, everybody, I want to thank you so much for tuning into today's show. Tomorrow is Thursday. Maybe we come up with some more topics. Maybe I create a wheel of topics and we go off of that. I'll put something out. We got to do something to get through the dog days before we go to our power rankings, Tommy. We're not doing the power rankings right now. We're not going to be like every other show. We're going to wait till we get there. All right, everybody, I want to thank you so much. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.